Namaste, hello, and welcome back to another video on Hamsavahini Vajraasthra. I'm Awhona, and as you can see, I'm actually filming this video in my garden because it is the season of flowers here in India. It is getting slightly warmer, and very soon it will be time for planting the summer flowers, of course. But this video is going to be primarily focused on my TBR for February 2023, as well as all the books that I plan on reading for the Regency Era Readathon. And also I would request you to excuse me for the background noise because it's approximately 12-ish noon over here, and I'm just trying to film the video so that I can get maximum light, I can soak up some winter sun, and show you my flowers as well as we progress through the video. So please do join me further in this video. So let me start off by taking you through my reading projects first. So the first reading project that I'll be focusing on in the month of February is called Spinning Classics. Now for this particular project, I have chosen to read 5 books for the month of February. There are short books and there are a few novels as well, which do include some buddy reads. So I do have all the information in front of me, so I'll be reading it out from here. So the first book that I've chosen is a Regency era poem, which is called So Bright and Delicate. So this is a combination of poetry as well as love letters, which were written by John Kearts to Fanny Brawne. So I do not have much information about this book, but I'm quite interested in going through it because it is a very short read for me. The second book is a Regency era play by Oliver Goldsmith, and it is called She Stoops to Conquer. Now from the back of the book it reads as: a squire's mansion is mistaken for an inn. His daughter, pretending to be a barmaid, tries to win the love of the bashful Marlowe. Havoc ensues. So it is quite interesting, and looking forward to read this. And this is also a very short play. The third novel which I plan on reading has been written by Fanny, and it is called Evelina. Now from the back of the book it reads as: by turns hilarious and grim, witty and lyrical, the story follows young Evelina as she leaves the seclusion of her country home and enters into the late 18th century London society, both its pleasures and its dangers. Life in 18th century England is vividly rendered as Evelina is educated in the ways of the world and eventually love. As she battles such cruelty as social snobbery and delights in such thrills and pleasures, gardens and balls, Evelina strives towards her final triumph while capturing the hearts of listeners everywhere along the way. Evelina, in Frances Burney's first and most beloved novel, is a landmark in the development of novels, of manners, and went on to influence such enduringly popular authors as Jane Austen. So this is one of the novels that I've been eagerly waiting and looking forward to read. I did attempt to read Camilla, but I just probably went halfway, or I didn't even reach halfway actually, to be honest. It was so massive. But then it is still on my reading list for 2023, and I did not attempt to pick up Camilla at the beginning of the year, possibly towards the middle of the year. But then Evelina is something which I plan to complete in this month of February. Now, the next novel that I plan on reading is going to be a buddy read for me with Erion from Book Zealots. So I'll put up her information somewhere over here on the screen. And we are reading Mary Barton for the month of February. Now, from the back of the book, of course, as we all know, Mary Barton is written by Elizabeth Gaskell. And from the back of the book, it reads as: Mary Barton, the daughter of disillusioned trade unionist, rejects her working-class lover, Jem Wilson, in the hope of marrying Henry Carson, the mill owner's son, and making a better life for herself and her father. But when Henry is shot down in the street and Jen becomes the main suspect, Mary finds herself painfully torn between the two men. So this is a very difficult situation for Mary, and of course, as we all know, Elizabeth Gaskell's protagonists are from very practical realities of the Victorian society, and I am looking forward to reading this. And the second book, which both Erion and me are buddy reading, is a book which we have carried forward from January, which is Ruth by Elizabeth Gaskell. Now, both of us could not really synchronize our timings, and I actually fell behind reading, so we've decided to reread this in the month of January. And from the back of the book, it reads as Ruth is a social novel by Elizabeth Gaskell, and it has received controversial reviews among readers of the Victorian era because of its candid portrayal of fallen women. Ruth Hilton, an orphaned young seamstress, falls prey to the wiles of young, wealthy and bored Henry Bellingham. The affair is short-lived when Ruth carried Bellingham's unborn child and is abandoned, left and unemployed, homeless and utterly without hope. She is saved by Minister Thurston Benson, who takes pity on Ruth and her illegitimate child and helps her to establish a respectable place in the society. Upon the unforeseen return of Bellingham, the young mother must make a decision to retain her personal pride and endure the chastisement of her community, or to succumb to the advances of Bellingham. And I just think I lost what I was reading, but here it is in front of me, so do forgive me for that. So one of the first works to explore the social stigmas of fallen women in the context of the 19th century England, Ruth has remained a socially impactful work in literary history. So I was looking forward to reading Ruth. It is not a very bright novel, but it does show the social status of a woman who does not make the correct choices, because during the Victorian era, women have to be very practical. Either they do have means to support themselves, or they do have property and wealth to back themselves up, or they have to make very smart choices. And Ruth is a very practical novel in which the protagonist has to choose between her heart and her head. So this is why I absolutely love Elizabeth Gaskell's work. So Elizabeth Gaskell's work portrays the condition of women in the Victorian era, wherein they had to use their head more than the heart if they did not have better choices or wealth to back them up. So quite looking forward to reading this with Erion once again, and let's see where we get from here. So these are the few projects that these are the few books that I'll be reading for the project Spinning Classics. So now let's come over to my other project, which is Austen's Spyglass. So for this particular project, I will be reading 3 books, 2 non-fiction and 1 fiction. So obviously, because the project is titled as Austen's Spyglass, it is everything to deal with Jane Austen's era, the 18th century and the early 19th century, as well as the Regency era, of course, and the Georgian period as a whole. So the first book, which is a non-fiction book, which I will be reading, is called The Golden Age of Garden by Claire Cox-Starkey, and from the back of the book it reads as: the relationship between England and its gardens might be described as a love affair. Gardening is one of the English national passions rooted in history. The 18th century is often called the Golden Age of English gardening, as fashion for formal pleasure gardens for the wealthy faded. A new era began, filled with picturesque vistas inspired by nature. Charting the transformation in our landscapes through the 18th and the 19th century England, the Golden Age of Garden brings the voices of the past alive in newspaper reports, letters, diaries, books, essays and travelogues, offering contemporary gardening advice, principles of design, reflection on nature, landscape and plants, and a unique perspective on the origins of a fascination with gardens, exploring the different styles, techniques and innovations, the creation of the many stunning spaces that visitors will flock to see today is an evocative and rewarding collection for all gardeners and garden-loving seekers. Insight, ideas and surprises. So this is a book that I'm quite looking forward to read, and it's pretty interesting. Now the second non-fiction book, which I did stumble upon, is called Jane Austen and the Buddha, Teachers of Enlightenment by Catherine Duncan. Now from the back of the book it reads as: in this book, Austen fans, or those who wish for a deeper understanding of how stories can alleviate suffering, will discover a combination of psychology and Buddhism alongside accessible close readings of Austen. This unique approach offers insight into Austen's enduring popularity and lessons we might apply to our own lives to find happiness. So basically, we're looking at Jane Austen's works and Jane Austen's life through the eyes of enlightenment and through the wisdom of the Buddha, which is very, very interesting. And I'm looking forward to reading this one as well. Now, the third book is a fiction novel, which is called Jane Austen and Shelley in the Garden, a novel with pictures by Jane Todd. And from the back of the book, it reads as: this coming of old age novel is a light meditation on age, literature, friendship, hope, and joy of new opportunities. Eccentric Fran wants a second chance thanks to her intimacy with Jane Austen, and Shelley she finds one. Jane Austen is such a presence in Fran's life that she seems to share her cottage and garden, becoming an imaginary friend. Fran's conversations with Jane Austen guide and cheat her, but Fran is ready for a change. An encounter with a long-standing friend and a new one, a writer, leads to something new. The 3 women unite in their love of books and in a quest for the idealist poet at 2 pivotal moments in Wales and Venice. His yearning for utopian communities and visionary powers lead them to interrogate their past relationships, literature, motherhood, death, feminism, the resurgence of childhood memory in old age, the tensions between generations. Despite the appeal of solitude, they open themselves to different ways of living, outside partnership and family. Jane Austen has plenty of comments to offer. So this is a very interesting novel, and there are pictures in this particular book. Of course, I'm not really holding the physical book. I do own a physical copy of this book, which I'll be sharing once I complete reading this novel. But those are the few books that I plan on reading. Now, the Regency Era Readathon is a readathon which has been created and hosted by So those are our wonderful hosts for this particular readathon, and I will be sharing the books that I plan on reading, which will be, of course, from my projects. But for the specific prompts, these are the books that I choose to read. So that's all I have for today, and I do hope you enjoyed this video and you enjoyed watching the flowers in this video as well, because I have based everything about this video around flowers and around gardening. So do let me know your views in the comment section below, and do join me next week because I will be back with another video. So till then, take care, have a good reading week ahead, and namaste.